I saw them standing there watching. So when the whole thing was over and we went back in the house, my dad, instead of apologizing to us, started attacking all of us, me and my brothers. Mostly me and my brothers. He wasn't really saying much to my mom, but he attacked me and my brothers, saying things like he wouldn't pay for one of my brothers' exam fees and stuff like that. And then he threatened me. He spoke in a threatening manner to me, which, for me, the fact that he had just attacked my mom in front of the neighbors, that was enough anyway. But when he then threatened me, I just thought that was the last straw for me. I was like, I'm moving out. I was already working at this point, and I didn't tell my parents that I was going to move out. I only told them afterwards when I'd found a place to move to. So just before I moved out, I remember one day I was sitting outside just enjoying the sun in the morning. My dad came to me and said, well, why are you moving out? We thought you were the one who was going to help us financially and everything. And this was the very first time that I'd really told my dad facts. And I said, look, I'm sick and tired of all this domestic abuse that's going on between you and mom. And now you're starting to involve me in it. So I'm not interested in getting involved in your issues. So I said, I am moving out. And like I said, I was 24 by this time, and my dad didn't say anything more. He just walked away from me, and I could see he probably went and cried in the house because he went in the house, and I stayed outside. But I didn't really care at this point. So I did move out and went and lodged um, in a place in Harare by myself. And during this time, I saved up a lot of money. I mean, I'd gone to to a college called the Harare Polytechnic, where I'd studied art and design, and by God's grace, I managed to get a grant, which enabled me to pay my own fees. And I also didn't have my parents' support. They said they couldn't support me because they didn't have the money. Which, I mean, I found interesting at the time, because by this time, I mean, I didn't say anything, but I could see that my dad was spending a lot of money on alcohol, drinking with his mates, and um, but my parents couldn't support me financially. So, but by God's grace, at that time, the government in Zimbabwe was giving out loans to students who wanted grants. So I got a grant, and I managed to pay my own fees. And later on, I paid off the loan when I started working. So even as a child, I was very good at saving money, to the extent that sometimes my mom would come and ask me for money, which I think is wrong. And parents should not be going to their children, and I'm talking about minors, asking them for money. And the other thing that used to happen is that when my mom would ask me for money, she would promise that she was going to give me back my money, because it was like an allowance, or bus fare that I'd saved up, because we used to catch the bus sometimes to go to school, but I'd save up the money. And because I would then say I had $5 or I had $10, my mom knew that I had some money, and she would come and ask me for money. But my issue with that is that she wouldn't give me back the money, which was an abusive position as a parent. So I forgot to mention that at college, I made some friends, but they were not very good friends. Some of them anyway were not very good friends, especially two of them that I used to hang around with. They introduced me to alcohol and cigarettes. Uh, but thank God I never got addicted to those things. And soon after I started like experimenting with those things, I stopped. And also there was the issue of girls now, and fornication. There was some of that going on as well, not just with me, but with my friends as well. Um, but that only like lasted a short period, because soon afterwards I started trying to be more serious with my faith, and so I stopped. Actually, I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking. I wasn't addicted to those things. I never actually enjoyed them. I just did them because of peer pressure, because I wanted to be with my so-called friends, who later on, when I look back, they were not very good friends. Actually, they were not a very good influence on me. But I stopped, and I even started telling my classmates in college that we should be serious. I'm now a Christian, and we should be serious as Christians. And they obviously used to mock me and stuff, but the only thing I didn't do is that I didn't stop hanging around with those same friends who were having a bad influence on me. Um, and I managed to save up some money, quite a lot of money, and I didn't actually have a goal in terms of, I didn't have anything that I was thinking, this is what I want to do with this money. I was just saving up. I've always been a saver from the time I was a child, and but that worked out really well for me, because the economy in Zimbabwe started going downhill very quickly. One of the first things that caused that was the farm invasions. I don't know if everyone knows what I'm talking about, but most of the commercial farms in Zimbabwe were owned by whites. Now, as the president at the time, Robert Mugabe was losing favor with Zimbabweans. He used the issue of land to stay in power. He basically sent some war veterans who had fought in the liberation war to go and invade farms and take them over by force from the whites, who were the ones who mostly owned farms. And also, I should mention that there were some blacks as well. There's some black commercial farmers who had their farms taken away. Then there was the issue of gratuities, which were paid to war veterans in Zimbabwe, and there was the war as well that took place in the Congo, which some Zimbabwean soldiers took part in. He said that those three things are the ones that led to the economy in Zimbabwe going down, because Zimbabwe was actually once known as the breadbasket of Africa, and as small as it is, Zimbabwe was exporting a lot of goods outside the country. I even remember there were flowers that were being sold to Holland. There'll be a flight, an Air Zimbabwe flight that will fly like early in the morning, get to Holland when the flowers were still fresh, and then the flowers would be sold in Holland. There were also other crops that were grown here in Zimbabwe. So when fruit production was and the small industry that we had in Zimbabwe, when that was disrupted, the economy went down. So remember, the money that I saved helped me to purchase a plane ticket to the UK. Yeah, sorry folks, my battery ran out. Not my battery, sorry, my data on my phone ran out. My phone was full, so I thought I was still recording, but I was actually just talking to myself. So I was just explaining what happened with the Zimbabwean economy. This started around the year 2000. So we had the farm seizures, of which the Zimbabwean economy was actually held up by agriculture, and I might have mentioned that Zimbabwe was actually called the bread basket of Africa. And then we had the, the payment of gratuities to the war veterans, those who had fought in the liberation war. They were given some money, and then we had the war in the Congo. Those three things are said to be the ones that led to the crash of the Zimbabwe dollar. So it's roughly around that time that I moved, kind of the end part. I think it was actually September 2000 that I moved to the UK. But like I mentioned, well, I don't know if I actually caught this on video, that when I told my parents that I wanted to move to the UK, my mom specifically discouraged me. She said that the the UK was dangerous. It was dangerous, and I was going to be treated like a second-class citizen, which was true. But we all, everyone needs to have their own personal experience. It's not for parents to discourage their children when they are doing things that that are good, and not outside the law. Parents should not discourage their children from doing that which is right. My mom had already been to the UK by this point, so I thought it was hypocritical of her to discourage me from going to the UK. The main reason, to be honest, was that both my parents, my mom and my dad, wanted to go to the UK to work, and they wanted me to stay behind and look after my brother since I was the firstborn. But um, uh, maybe I should actually address this point, because I've thought about it long and hard, that when when parents bring a child into the world, it is their responsibility to look after that child, and even when that child becomes an adult and they need help, as long as the parents are alive, it is primarily their duty to help that person. Um, just like with me and my children, if my children grow up and they need assistance, I should be willing to help them and not pass that responsibility to someone else, since I'm the one who brought them into the world. I apply that to my parents as well. So there's even a verse. Let me look it up. Yeah. So there's a verse here in Proverbs 13:22, which says, "A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just." Now, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, in other words, his grandchildren. But there's a tendency sometimes for certain parents to try and shake off responsibility of helping their own children. They want to pass on that responsibility to someone else. In this case, that was me. I was now almost like the parent now to my siblings, and I was supposed to be the one who provided for them. But that's not the case. As long as my understanding is that, and I believe this is biblical. As long as my parents are alive, especially my dad, he is the head of the family. Not the head of my house, obviously, but the head of the family. It's when he dies that responsibility is passed on to me, to become the head of the family. But so the issue of culture, which I addressed in my first video, it's kind of, it seems to be used when it's convenient. Culture is only mentioned when it's convenient, and I've noticed it's actually, some of these things are just made up to benefit the person who's saying it. I've never heard of even one person who's said, because of culture this has to be done, when it has a detriment on them. It's always someone who benefits who says, "Oh, because of culture we have to do this," So anyway, although I was when I was younger, I was a person who never really spoke up for myself or made my feelings known, especially to my parents. But and on this occasion, when I was being discouraged from going to the UK, even though I was buying the plane ticket with my own money, I was just quiet, because I could see the same things that had been done to me in the past, where I was being discouraged from doing certain things like going to college. I was now being discouraged from going to the UK, like I said, when I was paying for my own plane ticket. So I didn't take that advice at all. And when I look back now, if I should have listened to my parents when they told me that I shouldn't go to the UK, that would have been a very big mistake, because in life we should take opportunities as they come.